Hello boys and girls, my name's Tom and this week's topics include World of Warcraft, Star Trek, Fallout 4 and themed dining experiences. We're hitting every box on the nerd checklist. All we'd need is an anime segment and we could send off the commemorative plate. This is Safehouse. This week's had its ups and downs. For every amazing Japanese Star Wars trailer we've had a Seth Rollins busting his knee and for having to vacate the WWE title. It's been a roller coaster of emotion. But in the end, the good news prevailed with all the awesome stuff we'll be talking about today, starting with a roundup of all the news from Blizzcon. And so for that, it's over to my good friend and co-host James Pickard.
Blizzard's annual gaming convention Blizzcon took place last weekend. The PC Goliath taking the opportunity to announce all the latest news for likes of StarCraft, Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch. By the time you're watching this, part 3 of the StarCraft 2 trilogy, Legacy of the Void, will have been released. We'll probably have some more on that next week. However, Blizzard did announce some plans for the future of the series, including a set of DLC missions called Nova Covert Ops. Not much is known about the side story so far, apart from the fact that it will follow the Terran stealth operative Nova as she has to escape from capture. Quite how much this will have to do with the cancelled FPS project StarCraft Ghost remains to be seen as well. The intro cinematic for upcoming World of Warcraft expansion Legion also debuted at the show, featuring Varian Wrynn and Sylvanas leading an assault on the Burning Legion. Blizzard also confirmed the return of big bad and most loathed heroes character Illidan Stormrage. He'll be back to fuck everyone's shit up again. Sticking with Warcraft, we also got the debut trailer for the Warcraft film, which is to be directed by Duncan Jones of Source Code and Moon fame. The film takes us back to the early days of the Horde Alliance, as the Orcs, led by Duratan, make their way through the Dark Portal and into Azeroth for the first time. What we've seen so far looks like fairly generic fantasy nonsense, but it's Warcraft, so I'm going to go see it. My favourite addiction outside of fantasy football and hardcore drugs, Hearthstone will be getting a new batch of cards later this year in the League of Explorers expansion. The majority of the cards have already been revealed online, but at the show they debuted one in particular, the Golden Monkey, a 3-part card which you have to shuffle through your deck a handful of times, which when you finally reach it, turns your whole hand and the rest of your deck into legendary cards. Seems pretty good. As well as revealing a trio of new characters for the competitive team-based shooter, we now know that Overwatch will be releasing in spring of 2016 across PS4, Xbox One and PC. We also know it'll launch in 3 different editions. The most important one to pay attention to is the Origins edition, which they say will include all 21 heroes they've announced so far. But they haven't gone on to say about any other new heroes that they'll add in the future, so people are a little bit suspicious that those may be charged down the line. And finally, a favourite of the Safehouse gang, momentum clearly isn't slowing down on Heroes of the Storm with the announcement of 4 new heroes, a new map, and an entirely new game mode, the Arena. The Worgen Greymane, the Centaur Lunara, and Overwatch hero Tracer join the roster, along with 2-headed ogre Cho'Gall, the character played by 2 players at once. Rather than purchase Cho'Gall, you'll have to team up with another player who already owns him in order to add him to your own lineup. Conspicuously absent from the show is any news on Diablo. We already know there's a new project underway thanks to a bunch of job listings on the Blizzard Careers website, but perhaps we'll have to wait till next year until we hear any more news.
Fallout 4 was released yesterday and by all accounts is the lone, shining example of excellence in the Bog Of Mediocrity that is my life. I picked up the Pip-Boy edition for PC early Tuesday morning and then played it for 12 hours straight. It was so engaging that I forgot to eat. I'm so hungry. The game starts you off in pre-war America, 2077. You create your character by standing in front of a mirror and wiggling their face until they look exactly like you, and then you go about your business. You drink your morning coffee, you check on the baby, and you answer the door to a Vault-Tec representative inviting you to the local vault. I'll keep this spoiler free, because if anyone had spoiled any part of this game for me, I swear they would never find the body, but hijinks ensue and you end up in post-war Boston just over 200 years later. From there it becomes familiar territory for Fallout fans. You can follow the story missions, which hold your hand through tutorials of all the basics, covering combat, conversation, power armor and base building, or you can just wander off and do your own thing. For my first character, I've stuck mainly to the central story, saving the bulk of the side missions for the next couple of 100 hours of additional playthroughs I'll obviously be putting in. But the ones I've seen so far range from the grim to the ridiculous, and they all have that special something that Fallout does so well. I'd love to tell you more, but to be honest, I want to kind of wrap this up so I can go back to playing it. So I will just leave you with this advice. If you haven't yet got Fallout 4, get Fallout 4.
As many of you probably already know, I'm a huge fan of Twin Peaks and rate it as one of my favourite TV shows of all time. So when I heard that there was going to be a Twin Peaks themed diner opening up in London, I did the obvious thing and dragged Tom along to go to it with me. Not quite knowing what we were letting ourselves in for, it was quite surprising to find that rather than just going there for a meal, the whole thing was actually a huge performance piece as well. Walking in, there was Norma and Shelley behind the counter, Dr. Jacoby wandering between the booths, the log lady sitting quietly in the corner, and Audrey Horne leaning against the jukebox. It was as all my dreams had come at once. Each attendee was also given a role for the evening and a secret objective they could go and complete between courses. Things got a little bit too real for me when I was given the job of amateur writer, and at one point Audrey Horne asked me to write a poem for Dale Cooper. That was the highlight of my life. After the meal, which was stellar by the way, we were shepherded through into the Roadhouse bar, where we drank some ale and experienced some of the weirdest stage performances of all time to some electronic shoegaze. All in all, it was a pretty incredible evening. They nailed that surreal Lynchian aesthetic, served up some great food, and left me with a night that I probably won't forget for a while now.
Breaking news, wishes do come true. I don't know whether it was Santa or a genie or that gypsy lady, but 10 years of wishing has finally paid off because we're getting a new Star Trek series. All we know so far is that it will be aired on CBS's streaming service All Access sometime in 2017 and will focus on an entirely new set of spacefaring explorers as they tool around the galaxy and try not to fuck everything up too badly. But being as that's all we've been given to work with, it looks like we're going to have to take a warp speed trip across the galaxy until we dock at Speculation Station. The primary thing to think about is which timeline will the series be set in? Will it be in the original universe, which we all came to know and love, last seen in 2002's Star Trek Nemesis? Or will it take place in the JJ universe, created in 2009's Star Trek when Spock went back in time following the destruction of Romulus? Each possibility has merit. A show set in the fancy new Apple Store timeline would keep the relatively new fans interested and allow them to do tie-ins with the ongoing series of films like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does with Marvel's Avengers. But a series set in the original timeline would instantly bring a lot of old school fans back on board, already having that lore to build upon, maybe starting with the destruction of Romulus and the mourning of Spock's apparent death. Either way, I am so excited for it. Having a new series of Star Trek to get into is going to be fantastic, and it means I'm less likely to burn out the DVDs of the last 3 seasons of DS9. If this new one can equal, or dare I say top, the Dominion War, I'm going to have a new favourite show. So that's about all the time we have for today.
Yes, if you enjoyed what you saw, please do give us a like or a subscribe or a tweet or a Facebook or
any of the
all of the things.
Do the social medias. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.